Welcome to Skid Row's Racing. So, a bad turn of events has happened. Turned out to be okay in the long run, but Buddy spun and stopped, and he was a car ahead of me, and the car ahead of me got out of the way, and I didn't. So, pretty bad. So, core support got smashed in. I already put a new one in. Had to replace the radiator and expansion tank and upper hose at the track. Had some issues with those. The radiator, the drain plug still does not seal. It's one of the problems with like parts store stuff. Oh, I had to get a new fan too. So all that stuff going on. Dash bar is obviously destroyed. So gotta make a new one of those too. I already have some new parts on the way. The important thing is that I got this car back together in the pits at the track and had some of the best laps of my life. Well, at least I feel like they were. And they were like the most fun laps of my life anyway. And it was just an absolute blast to have this car out there. And maybe the weight reduction was part of it. Who knows? But we're getting this thing going. I do have a new hood for it. The important thing is there is a Rust-Oleum paint that I used when I fixed the side of the car that got caved in. And most people can't tell where it begins and ends. But there actually is a pretty harsh masking line there. But if you're not looking for it, I get it. So I'm painting the hood with that because I didn't end up getting a silver one, unfortunately. If I was more patient and wanted to drive to go get it, I could have, but I didn't. So I got a really, really crappy looking one from the junkyard that I probably paid too much for, but probably still would have cost more because of fuel and time to go get a different one. So that's where we're at with that. And gonna do a couple little, well, one little touch that'll make it look custom to the to the trained eye. And yeah, let's get this piece of crap fixed up. All right, so we did a not so great job of cleaning this thing off. Some of the black spray paint that they put on there looks like it came off when I washed it, which is pretty nice. Some dingling glued the kidney grills in, so I'm trying to get those out. A hammer and screwdriver and other methods doesn't seem to cut it, so we're trying this unit out. I got it for a different project, and now I'm probably not even going to use it for this said project, but we're going to try it for here. We got a rigid scraper and see what happens. So it actually works pretty good. The blade's getting a little bit damaged, but I don't really care. It's kind of what it's for. I can resharpen it with a grinder or something in theory. And I got a spare one that's like less rigid. So it doesn't seem to be cutting the metal, and we're getting through there to the point where I should be able to kind of sand it up and make it look okay paint wise. Plus most of it will be covered, well, maybe all of it, I can't remember how the grills fit in there. Anyways, at least some of it will be covered with the kidney grills, so there is that. But I just don't want this crap behind there because it's just like, it's no good. So no sense in showing you any more of this because you know what this part looks like. And then stay tuned for when I'm doing a different task on the same thing. So I think that's good enough for now. And then I'll get in there with sandpaper stuff and make it more better. And then now I got to take care of this absolutely wretched spray paint job. And then kind of get down to the bulk of it. The ends of this were a little bent up. I'm pretty sure that they were like that when I got it, and I just didn't notice. Because just right in the back of my van, it didn't slide around or bang into anything back there, so I don't think they could have bent up. I bent it back down for the most part. There's a couple outward dings on the hood I tried to fix with hammers and things, and it didn't really show that because I don't know what I'm doing, and you probably don't want to see me do that. That was a little dinged up too. And then I can put the emblem from the old hood in here if I want, but I'm not going to, so you'll see what I'm doing there too. So I think to start, I'm just going to try to do like a rougher run of sandpaper, see if I can get this more challenging upper side to a decent base to work with. And then the bottom of the hood, I'm just gonna like basically scuff it or smooth out any bare metal parts and then give it a nice scuff to like 220 or something, and then that's just gonna be sprayed with no clear because I mean it's gonna be in here with that. So good enough. I just don't want it to be dark blue because that's terrible. This is worse than I thought. I should have walked away from this one and spent more money on a different one, or similar money with more time. But yeah, turns out there was some Bondo going on and getting rid of these little dimples and trying to get it all to look somewhat like that in uniform. I'm not going to get too crazy because it ultimately is a drift car and I'm going to do stupid stuff with this car. So I'm not going to spend too much time doing this, but I do want it to look nice, so we're going to keep going. Alright, skipped way ahead because I feel like I don't know enough about applying Bondo to have my technique shared because I'm a little embarrassed about it. Maybe it's correct, I don't know. But I feel like the end results are okay. So, I don't know, follow the directions and figure it out and you can probably do at least as good as me. I'm going to go back and fill a couple of these other spots, like it's maybe slightly low there. And on here, I filled this in with this product. I was originally going to cut a disc of metal, but I know somebody who's done this a time or 3 with good results. And also this is like at or less than the maximum thickness you can fill with the material or with this product. So whatever. It's like slightly low on the sides if I really nitpick it. So I think I'm going to give it one more little go. Yeah, so I got a little dimple there. And everything else I'm pretty happy with. I'll go over the hood again, make sure I didn't miss any spots that I wanted to take care of. And at this point, even sanded with little scuffs from hoses and stuff going over it and everything, like I honestly think it looks better than it did with the crappy spray paint, just like this. I also still got to get in the little nooks and crannies of that, and the little areas where it was bent up, they're not looking too shabby, all things considered. They're not going to be perfect. I might just leave it like that. I'm getting a little crazy with the sander, so I'm going to have to blend that in a little bit because I got a little deep. The 80 grit really rips it up on the dual action sander, the little one I've got. So, yeah, gonna carry on. Alrighty, the bottom of the hood's painted. I don't really like the way I prepped it because I did a horrible job. I mentioned 220 earlier. I should have probably just used like Scotch-Brite and cleaned it up and scuffed it because there's some sand marks. I'm not going to go over that too much. If it bothers me enough, I'll fix it later. I think I'm going to put the hood on and forget about it. So now, let's get to the more important part. It's the top. But as you can see, now instead of it being blue, it'll sort of look like it belongs with the car when the hood's open. And then, alright, did some skipping ahead because based on the earlier part of the video, you know what it looks like when I sand. I was just sanding smoother because I used a finer grit and I was further along. Everything's within where I like it. I did end up putting a little more stuff there on that area. It's within spec for me. Here's what I'm going to use. This with some primer under it and some clear coat made this patch of car over here, which is very poorly lit up right now. but that is actually the same paint underneath the doors and stuff, and people don't notice it. So I'm trying it on the hood. So can we make this good enough for a 250,000 mile drift car that already has Miss Silver painted panels all over it? Will it look good enough? We're gonna find out. Yay, it's sanded again. So this time I was just going to do a base over this, but I went to metal in a couple spots. So I'm going to primer it again, and instead of using the gray like I was using, I realized I had a can of unused white primer. So I'm going to try that because this shade of color is just the tiniest bit darker than what's on the car. And it's as close as you're going to get with spray paint. But I mean, it's anyways, maybe a lighter base will help. It's not going to make it worse. So that white primer didn't work out so well. The nozzle plugged. I don't know how old that can is, but obviously too old. I used my good old trusty favorite that's been my favorite for like forever, and I just kind of got it on light in the spots it needed to be in. And I think I'm going to start trying to throw some base on here. I know this is lighter. You know, I'm going to throw a little primer on that first. The primer I like, so it's more consistent. I was afraid this was going to have like some big bumps and stuff in it, but it doesn't seem too bad actually. It kind of shrunk in, but I wasn't going to paint the whole thing with this trying to spatter on me. And I gotta say, the Painter's Touch, how it just does like a round spot instead of fanning out. I hate their nozzles with a passion, especially after this project. This particular color I'm using, I don't know of another color that works as well available in spray paint, so it is what it is. So, see what happens. Okay, so don't take any of this as how to paint at all, but I will tell you that I'm not going to do a large piece with this, at least this kind of spray paint again, because these nozzles just spray like a roundy bit. This is like as even as I could get it, and you can probably see in the camera that it's not great. There's a few areas that my attention to detail lacked a little bit, but that was after the second round, so bummer there, but whatever. What's really strange is that through two coats of, or two thick layers, I guess I should say, of paint and, or primer and paint and primer and paint, and there's clear in the middle of it too in most spots. You can still see the Bondo, which is really weird to me. So maybe comment if you know how I could have avoided that. So currently the plan is to just go ahead and clear it with this crap like I was doing, because my experimental piece is just working, and this has been drying for well over 48 hours. So, or curing I should say. So we're gonna go for it, and then I'm either going to get real paint or this stuff in a quart and an actual spray gun if I do this again. And I also, if it bothers me enough, I may just buy a different hood that's already silver like I should have in the first place. So, you know, lesson learned. But like the small patch on the side of the car worked great. I'm actually going to use it on these small little headlight trim pieces, because like I don't think I'm gonna have a problem there. I think it's gonna be perfect. These are the cheapest ones I could find. I didn't know until I bought them, but that they were getting shipped directly from China. They almost look like they were 3D printed or something, but then there's also like little chunks that almost look like they were like broken off of a mold or something. So I don't know, but the quality seems fine. My other ones were kind of, well, cracked and warped from the crash, and they didn't quite click on the ends and stuff. So we're gonna make these work. Cheapest ones I could find. So the hood's painted. So basically, I am not happy with it. Don't do this unless, like, I don't know. I would have ran the same paint if I could have used like an actual paint gun for my compressor, where I could adjust the nozzle. And I think the initial round where things got screwed up, a couple things happened. That Painter's Touch primer is really hard to have like not stripy because of the nozzles, as mentioned earlier. And I think I should have waited a little longer between everything than I did, even though according to the instructions I was doing it pretty much correct. So this turned out like garbage. The little headlight pieces that go under the headlights, when I put those in, those turned out awesome. So my review of trying to use paint and clear to paint body panels on your car when you find a really close match is don't do it on a large piece. Only do it on a small piece. And you know, maybe I could wet sand and or buff this or whatever and make it somewhat tolerable. But it's sure better than having a smashed hood. So I'll get some pictures and footage and stuff when I bolt it onto the car. I just need to get a second hand to do that so I don't break the windshield or something. So that's coming along. Stay tuned. Bash bar is getting replaced. / I'm building another one. Headlights and stuff are going back in the car. Radiator needs to come back out because the it's a defective piece of junk. I'll explain more about that later. And the core support that I just bought needs to be fixed up because it's a defective piece of junk. So yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the continuation of the repairs of the old Silver Fox.